Obviously, it was massively being hit, but we're going to show you where you can get those. We're going to show you some of the documents, and unfortunately, even though I'm a big believer in the more the merrier, we need more and more documentation, there are not a huge amount of revelations, if any real new revelations of any significance in these documents from what I've seen, and largely what I'm seeing promoted on social media, etc., are really things that we already knew. They're sensationalistic details, when what I'd like to see are more and more names with more and more corroborating evidence, and that is not what I'm seeing in these documents. Again, I'm not trying to diss them or say that, oh, there's nothing here. I haven't gone through all of them, but I'm going to show you several of them that are still kind of redacted, and then I'm going to show you that, like, Virginia Giuffre Roberts wrote some kind of like a mini book, and the mini book is like 70 plus pages and novel-like. It's pretty bizarre. What's going on? Am I buffering, guys, over on YouTube? Tell me I'm going to have to take this one down. If I'm buffering, let me know in the comment section. So anyway, I want to remind everybody that I'm fully demonetized on this platform. And apparently YouTube thinks I'm harmful content. We go over actual documents and evidence, and maybe that's why. But make sure you're thumbing the videos up, subscribing, sharing, and if you can, $5, $10, $15. No, it was good, huh? Buffers for a millisecond. I don't know why it would be buffering at all. You know, YouTube, you rock, huh? #1 platform out there for people that don't get to hear the truth on a regular basis. I heard they just took down Del Bigtree, which is extremely frightening as well. Make sure you're checking out all the videos. You can support me on Rockfin. And while they're here, Loose Change Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, and Shade the Motion Picture are free in the documentaries playlist section. All right, guys, let's take a look at some of these documents, okay? So, under seal, you know, you're getting, you know, not much. A lot of stuff that we already knew, right? Prince Andrew's in here. Alan Dershowitz is in here, and we're going to get to Dershowitz in a minute. You have Bill Richardson being named again. Marvin Minsky, who that's a name I have not really focused on. But for those that don't know, Minsky is one of these big tech heads, right? One of the godfathers of artificial intelligence. And we know that Epstein was clearly involved with people like Bill Gates and Elon Musk, who now have some kind of weird, you know, kind of fake feud. They've doubled down on Clinton, okay? Some kind of like orgy island. But again, there's no specifics of Clinton with underage girls. I want to make that extremely clear, right? So you see Jean-Luc Brunel. One of the things I did see, which was something that was slightly different than what I had seen before, and we'll show you this one. These are transcripts of videotaped definition, or depositions, right? So when I was looking at this one in particular, let's scroll down here. When we see Bill Richardson named, okay, there's also talk of, I believe, above this, that a Spanish president, okay, because she gets asked about Dershowitz. Here's Bill Richardson, George Mitchell, Jean-Luc Brunel. And then she says another guy that I don't know his name, a guy that owns a hotel, a really large hotel chain. I can't remember which hotel it was. Then she names Minsky. There was, you know, another foreign president. I can't remember his name. He was Spanish. So this isn't Ehud Barak, okay, which, you know, has been filmed at Epstein's New York house after we all knew what Epstein was. There's a whole bunch of them. It's hard for me to remember. And this is where she's being grilled by the attorney, Miss Menninger, for, I believe it's Ghislaine Maxwell. And there's the Dershowitz one right here. And I know Stephen Kaufman was one of the first I was sent to. Alan Dershowitz could have been between Glenn, and I would show you that's Glenn Dubin. Again, it's been named before. And Stephen. The first time I was with Alan Dershowitz was in New York, so I wasn't actually sent to him. It actually happened at one of Jeffrey's residences. So once again, that's why Maria Farmer came forward, because a lot of this stuff had come out, and basically Dershowitz was calling her a liar and saying that he hadn't met Epstein until then, and Maria Farmer basically took Virginia Giuffre Roberts' side and said, look, I went to the FBI and the NYPD in 1996. Okay? Now, when I was talking about, other than the video deposition, this is what I'm talking about when you see things like Chapter 2, okay? Now, I was reading through a little bit of this. It's called The Billionaires Playboy Club, and it is written by Virginia Roberts. I don't know that this has ever been published before. This has probably got a lot of the salacious details out there. But again, one of the things that I saw trending on social media when I was looking to see if there had been any other big names or details that weren't just of a salacious nature, right? That actually named other people, maybe a Claude Hadid, people that had been on the flight logs that were released or also exposed in the Black Book. I haven't been seeing that. Okay, I mean, there's some gross details about Virginia Giuffre Roberts being taken to a Gap Kids. You know, I mean, some really disgusting and disturbing stuff, sure. But again, is there anything big and new here? I'm not seeing it. Maybe now we'll start focusing more on those names we just showed you, Bill Richardson, Glenn Dubin, George Mitchell, etc. Maybe now we can really go into Zorro Ranch. But again, when it's been the cover-up crew the whole time, I'm not holding my breath. And especially when I see things of this nature, where plenty of this stuff, you know, is still extremely redacted. Okay? Yeah. And again, this is not to knock Virginia Giuffre Roberts or Bradley Edwards or David Boies, who's been working on this case. It's just to point out that there's still a lot of redactions in these documents, that I've yet to see any new names or evidence come up. And instead, it looks like what we have here, because there are thousands of more pages that have still been sealed during this case. And you can already see, again, that the unsealing of this is sometimes with heavy redactions. Okay? What are we really getting out of this? And by the way, anybody can get these over at courtlistener.com. Like I was saying last night, it was extremely hard to get them. They were getting overrun. What you're looking at here are the 47 different PDF files that are the newly unsealed documents. I just put it in the live chat there. But at the end of the day, after you grab all of them, you're going to have something like this. And a lot of the ones that we looked at were a little bit of a higher kilobyte size. That just shows that, you know, there's a little bit more content in those documents out there, whereas the smaller ones are basically cover letters and motions. But guys, they've been out for about, 14, 15 hours. If there is something new that I am indeed missing, that's not just, oh, this is where I met Prince Andrew or I saw Bill Clinton here, I'd like to know about it. Because, again, I'm seeing on social media the push of, Donald Trump being one of these molesters, when, in fact, we know that he did have a personal relationship with Epstein. It does seem that maybe he did procure some types of services with him, as he just wished Ghislaine Maxwell well, and there's plenty of pictures of them together. And Maria Farmer says that, he looked at her like she was his lunch. I've still seen no real evidence that, he was involved with anything underage. And you have the Katie Johnstone deposition where her face is blurred out, and I see that making its way through the internet as though that's part of this dump, or more validity has been given to that video or that person's deposition in this dump, and I still haven't seen it. Maybe she's telling the truth. I've never, demonized or marginalized her, other than to say, it was thrown out of court, and that the mainstream media even didn't glom onto it when they've glommed onto anything they could with Epstein and Trump out there. But then again, you have the deniers that say that, they had no relationship, even though you go back as far as Filthy Rich, before it was a Netflix special, and it was very apparent they had some type of a relationship. So guys, if you guys find anything, if there's something that I'm missing in here that's some kind of a new revelation or big piece of evidence that's not just of like, you know, highly morally degraded material, if there's a new piece of evidence or allegation or name out there, I'm willing to look at it. I'd be interested to see where it's coming from and why it's not being covered. But so far, there's really not much in here other than a lot of the salacious details that have been hinted at in the press, but now will be personified when there's so much more to this case. And the fact that, once again, you know, Jeffrey Epstein was just part of a larger network, an intelligence apparatus. It wasn't just blackmail. We're talking about trafficking of drugs, weapons, human beings, and children. Yes. You know, but the blackmail part is just a part of it. That's what's scary about it. And the fact that, again, you have these tech people, highly connected, Bill Gates being one of them, and yet he's doing a victory lap on every single network right now, you know, with his coronavirus, COVID 1984 nonsense. So guys, thumbs the video up, subscribe, and share. Once again, I want to remind everybody, I am fully demonetized on this platform. That's fully demonetized. Today is the last day in Media Month 13. We'll start Media Month 14 tomorrow. I've got Pat Miletich coming up in less than 2 hours from the road. He's over in South Dakota about to call an LFA event, but we're going to talk about that Trump tweet. We're going to talk about the possibility of no election and martial law and national lockdowns, which I don't really want to talk about, but unfortunately, he's the one that was telling me that Trump was going to suspend the election. I still thought that was a bridge too far, and now he's hinting on it on social media, and it's being picked up by the quote-unquote alternative media on top of course, the mainstream. So Pat Miletich coming up in a couple hours. Guys, thumbs the video up, subscribe, and share. Join the Burmers Brigade. Remember, if you are a premium member over on Rockfin, you get so many others premium content. Jimmy Dore, Ben Askren, Kim Iverson, the Tinfoil Hat Crew, Sam Tripoli, Graham Elwood, Romp Lacone, and so much more. Remember, all my documentary films, for now, are free right here, so check them out. Love ya. See you on the flip.